Let's try a type 2 projectile question where basically something is launched from the ground, it's going to go up and then come back down. The nice thing about these questions is they are perfectly symmetrical. So what happens in the first half and what happens in the second half, the two halves are going to be the same. So it's kind of nice that way. So the first thing we have to do is we have to start with our velocity and break apart our velocity into x and y components. So we find our Vx and we find our Vy at the beginning. We have a Vx about 15.3 meters per second, and our Vy is about 12.9 meters per second. Now, when the ball moves up, how long it takes to go up depends totally on the Vy. The time it would take to go straight up and then straight down is the same amount of time it would take to go along the entire pathway. So let's just pretend we're throwing something straight up. And if we're throwing something straight up, to find the time it would take to go up would be just our change in Vy divided by gravity. And if we do that, it would take this ball about 1.3 seconds to go all the way to the top. So it would take 1.3 seconds to go straight up and reach this location, but that's also the same amount of time it would take for it to go on the curved path to reach that location. And since it's symmetrical, that means that our total time is going to be 2.6 seconds, or time of flight. 1.3 seconds up and 1.3 seconds down. Now, we can use this to help us find a couple things. One thing that we could find would be the maximum height. A nice expression to find that would just be 1/2 gt squared, and for the time, I want to use the time up. Now, the time up and time down are the same, doesn't make any difference. So if I calculate that, we get a maximum height of about 8.4 meters. So that's how far it went into the air. The other thing you might want to calculate is the range. And of course, range is basically dTV, or range is equal to time times Vx. The only thing is, for the time, we want to use the total time because it's always moving in the x direction, the first half and the second half. So if we do that, we get an approximate range of about 40 meters. And then our type 2 projectile questions all done.